What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, breaking news, breaking news. The Cleveland Rockers are back, supposedly. Now, according to the Sports Business Journal, they are saying that sources confirm to them that the WNBA is bringing back the Cleveland Rockers. Now, this is a recent bid that Cleveland made to try to get their franchise back. A team that they didn't want anymore, but now clearly they want. But before we actually get into the article, I do want to give you all a brief, like 1 minute history about the Cleveland Rockers. So the Cleveland Rockers was one of the WNBA's inaugural teams, right? When the WNBA first launched, or when it was first announced, there were 8 teams announced, and the Cleveland Rockers was one of those teams. This is a team that had some well-known people, right? Players like Lynette Woodard played for the Cleveland Rockers, right? They had their head coach, Linda Hill McDonald. She started off as the coach for the team, and they were okay, to start the WNBA, and they barely missed the playoffs in 1997. In 1998, they got better, right? They ended up winning the Eastern Conference title, and ultimately ended up losing in the WNBA semifinals. 1999 was pretty terrible for the Rockers, and they made some changes, brought in Dan Hughes, who is a name that you all may remember. Y'all been around women's basketball for a long time. He's coached a lot of places, including with the San Antonio Silverstars is where I really remember him from. But yeah, he did his thing with this team, and they ended up making it to the playoffs in 2000 and 2001. But the unfortunate part about this team is that they just couldn't consistently be really good. 2002 was pretty terrible for the team. They had their worst record. They had the worst record in the league in 2020. I said 2022. 2002. They had the worst record in the league. And this was the same time that the WNBA was restructuring ownership. Because before that, teams didn't have to face the full burden. The NBA teams didn't have to face the full burden of the WNBA teams. But in 2002, they restructured things, and the WNBA placed ownership control of the team solely in the hands of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And their owner, Gordon Gunn, he was like, nah, I don't want to deal with this, right? Because he now had to handle the entire financial burden of the Cleveland Rockers, and he wasn't going for it, right? 2003 was not that great for the Cleveland Rockers. Their attendance was kind of going down. They did make the playoffs, but attendance, financial struggles led to the Cleveland Cavaliers saying, you know what, we're done. We are going to discontinue this team. And so September 19th, 2003 was the end of the Cleveland Rockers. Now, the fans were trying to salvage the team, trying to get a new owner in the door, but unfortunately, there was no owner that wanted to take that on in 2003, and ultimately the team was disbanded. And they ended up the players ended up being dispersed to all the other teams. And so yeah, that's not very good. The Cleveland Rockers, had a significant history. Maybe I'll do a in the history books where I do a deeper dive, but that's just a general overview of the Cleveland Rockers. They were a thing. They made some noise occasionally, but they couldn't consistently stay good. Ultimately, because the Cleveland Cavaliers did not want to handle the financial burden of it anymore, they decided to disband. There was a lot of teams that disbanded in the early 2000s for that very reason. Once the WNBA shifted the ownership and really made the financial burden on the NBA teams themselves, that's when we saw a lot of teams disband. Now, Cleveland is saying they want the WNBA back because the WNBA is showing signs of profitability, and they're like, you know what? We want this. So here is the article from Sports Business Journal. It says Cleveland likely to be awarded next WNBA franchise for 2028. The league could even add as many as 2 more to get to 18 teams. I think 18 teams, that's a lot. That's a lot to go from 12 to 18 teams in a very small span of time. We don't want the WNBA to end up like the NBA, where you have teams who are plagued with terrible seasons after terrible seasons after terrible seasons. And so I don't know. It bears the question of, is it going to water things down a little bit too much? But we'll see. Anyway, let's get to the actual article. So it says the WNBA is preparing to award Cleveland its 16th franchise, according to multiple sources have told SBJ, with an approximate bid worth a league record $250 million. Wow. It's a lot of money. The sources put Cleveland's expansion chances as high as 90% with an announced an announcement expected no later than March. Wow. And said the WNBA has rethought its original plan of adding just one team, and could award more than 2 franchises to bring its league total to 18 teams. The presumed leaders of the second and third team are Philadelphia, Houston, Nashville, Detroit, and Miami. Okay. Well, we'll see about that. I think Philly has a good chance. I really do think Philly has a good chance. Cleveland is expected to join the league in 2028, playing at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. They will be represented as the Cleveland Rockers, an original WNBA franchise that folded in 2003 when former owner Gordon Gund could not sell the team due to tumbling revenue and erratic attendance. But in the 2 decades since, the league's exponential growth and popularity has led to rising expansion fees. The Golden State Valkyries, the league's 13th franchise launching in May, paid $50 million to join the WNBA, while Toronto and Portland, the 14th and 15th franchise, paid $115 million and $125 million respectively. Now that has doubled. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Supposedly $250 million for the Cleveland Rockers to come back when man, the Golden State Valkyries, they got out like bandits. $50 million, that's it. Compared to 115, 125, and $200 million. That's a lot of money. Whole lot of money. As recent as 2 weeks ago, the WNBA applied to trademark the name Rockers, as well as the names of 3 other formed franchises, the Houston Comets and Detroit Shock and the Miami Soul, all clues to who could be in the running for the 17th and 18th teams, but not a complete giveaway. Sources said Houston is probably the most positioned for the 17th team, largely because the Rockets built a 75,000 square foot practice facility. Owner Tillman Ferretta is reportedly more than $10 billion, is worth more than $10 billion. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And they have an NBA infrastructure that is appealing to the league. The Comets are also an amazing brand, and it's stunning they even left the league, said a source, referring to the 4-time champion Comets folding in 2008 due to $4 million in annual losses. The article continues saying Philadelphia is likely another clear frontrunner, sources said, and indications are that the 76ers owner Josh Harris partnered with Comcast on a new arena in South Philadelphia. The priority was to house a WNBA team along with the Sixers and Flyers. Steve Greenberg, the managing director of Allen & Company, which is overseeing the expansion process on behalf of the WNBA, has declined comment on all bidding, but sources said the bids have ranged from $200 million to $250 million, and that the Cavaliers likely won the 16th franchise with their high-end $250 million proposal, their NBA infrastructure, and their burgeoning facilities. Owner Dan Gilbert and the Cleveland Cavaliers, who declined to comment, are constructing the Cleveland Clinic Global Peak Performance Center, which will be the centerpiece of Gilbert and Bedrock's $3.5 billion Riverfront Master Plan. The NBA Cavaliers would operate out of that facility, while the Rockers would move into the Cavaliers' current state-of-the-art training center in Independence, Ohio, complete with 2 practice courts, a team theater, a weight room in a remote wooded setting. Gilbert, who reportedly has poured over $1 billion into Cleveland sports and entertainment ecosystem since purchasing the Cavaliers in 2005, would also continue to upgrade the Rockers facility. Here's the thing. This is what is being written here is similar to what the Golden State Valkyries have done, right? The Golden State Warriors moved and they built this new thing, right? They're at the Chase Center now. They built new practice facility, new everything for the Golden State Warriors. Now, the Golden State Valkyries are using all of the Golden State Warriors' old stuff. They're sprucing it up. They're making it look a little bit better. The games will happen at Chase Center, but the older stuff that the Warriors had, now the Valkyries will have. Now, it still looks really, really nice. They have upgraded stuff, so it's not like necessarily hand-me-downs, but it kind of is hand-me-downs. But it's very nice hand-me-downs. All right, let's continue on. Says in all, 13 cities have bid for the next WNBA expansion teams. Now these cities include St. Louis, Kansas City, Austin, Jacksonville, Nashville, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, Miami, Denver, Charlotte, and Milwaukee. Under the NBA collective bargaining agreement, Current NBA players can buy up to 4% of a team as long as a current league owner is not a part of the bidding group. The Celtics' Jason Tatum has invested in the St. Louis bid, and the Suns' Kevin Durant in the Austin bid. Chief quarterback Patrick Mahomes is part of the Kansas City group, and former WNBA star Candace Parker is an investor in the Nashville group. As to why the WNBA is willing to take on potentially 3 teams instead of 1 right now, with the last 2 likely arriving in 2029 and 2030. The sense is that there have been multiple bids approaching $250 million. How do you walk away from $750 million, one source said. I mean, yeah. Of course, Kathy Engelbert's like, yeah, I want 16 teams, but if you have a lot of cities that are saying, hey, we will put together packages and give you upwards of $200 million just to get a team, who wouldn't pass it up? Who would pass it up? I'm just saying. So we'll see ultimately if the Cleveland Rockers end up being a team. I would love for them to come back. Like, I'm a fan of some of these old school OG sort of names for these teams. I would love for the Cleveland Rockers to come back. Like, let's go. Let's reimagine the logo. Like, have it very similar, but like reimagine it a little bit. Get a different mascot in there, and let's make some stuff happen. Okay, Cleveland. Also, Cleveland is not that far from me, so like, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to that either, because I could like drive to games and whatnot if I wanted to. So yeah, I love this. Let's hope it happens. But yeah, the WNBA, get your money. Hey, if teams want to join, get your money. And here's the thing. Now, what you have to do is when these teams join, you need to make sure that you're not watering down this product. So do whatever you got to do to get more international players involved, because if you have more European players joining the WNBA, then you don't have to worry about watering it down. But what you don't want is, you know, for most of the people who get drafted to actually make the roster, because that's not going to work. That's going to water it down, right? But if you're able to add in more international players, maybe that's changing the prioritization rule a little bit to make it a little bit more friendlier to those international players. Like, there's some stuff that you can do to ensure that it stays very, very competitive, because what you don't is just terrible basketball, right? You could try to force equality amongst the players and whatnot. Like, okay, well, all the great players, you can't go to this team or like whatever. But eventually, you know, players are going to do what players want to do, and you have to make sure that there's a big enough pipeline of high octane talent coming into the WNBA. And you can do that if you if you're opening it up way more to European players by making it a little bit more friendlier for those players to join, i.e. prioritization. So guys, that is the video. What do y'all think? Again, this is according to the Sports Business Journal, 90% chance that they end up getting this team, and we'll ultimately see what happens. But that is the story. What do y'all think? In the comments, let me know. I'm excited about it. Are you? What team do you want to see join the WNBA? What team? Let me know. I would love a St. Louis team, though. I'm saying, like, St. Louis don't really have much in terms of basketball, right? They don't have a professional basketball team, and so I think it would be awesome to have St. Louis host a WNBA team, because that'll be like more of like the focus. The attention wouldn't be split between the NBA team and the WNBA team. It would just be on the WNBA, which I think is great. I think it's really, really great. So what do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank y'all for watching. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.